Plotting money moves over cigar talk. With some ladies that's chill over cigar talk. Cognac sipping rum over cigar talk. Spend a few stacks over cigar talk.
Yo, what's going on, world? This your boy Najee from RapRadar.com. And today, man, I got a very special guest, man. Seated to my left, hey, this is one of the hardest writers of our time right here, man. Listen, this one of the most prolific writers. He got a project out right now that's really dope. Even Kings Die. I got my man, Mr. Rico Love.
What's up, bro?
What's up, brother? How's everything, man?
I'm blessed.
Man, that's good. Yo, bro, I don't know if you remember, like, the first time I met you, I was working with this girl, Chrissy Love, at the time. This was years, maybe 6 years ago or something like that. Yeah, flew us out to Miami.
Yeah.
And we was working in Circle House. We went to Circle House and we caught a vibe, and that was like the first time I really got a chance to like see you in action. And the shit is different, bro. It was like just the way you kind of. This is what really made me want to get you on, is just seeing that and just your process of like the way you kind of construct melodies and hear things in your head is different. Do you feel like, is that something like you born with, like a gift, or is that like just something you developed? Or
I think the passion and love for music is the gift. I think the ability is kind of natural and it's innate, but in order to craft that and to perfect that takes work. And that's something that I would not be arrogant enough to think, oh yeah, I just was born like this. No, I had a passion for it, and I think I have a natural ability and I'm drawn to what I do. But I think to be able to be consistently as good as I've been able to be, you got to work hard. You got to consistently do it. Like I literally do this every day. Right.
Cause like it was just like the words, like you would put in your mind frame, like, you know, she was a girl, but it was like the way you were just crafting the words. It didn't necessarily sound like it was something that, like your perspective.
Yeah. So what I think my true ability is my ability to communicate. So understanding how to communicate to others, understanding how I would like to be communicated to, and also my ability to be quiet and listen. So in being quiet, in listening, you're able to understand how people tick, what makes people tick, and not how they think. Because we don't, to be able to say I know how women think, I don't think anybody knows. Right. But the things that make them tick, the things I know will cause a reaction from them, I'm able to say it, whether it's from a male perspective or a female perspective. And I think that it just takes time, years of observation and practice. Yeah.
All right. Now I got a chance. I dived into this new project, Even Kings Die. Make sure y'all go get that, go stream that. And obviously the first thing that jumps out is like the intro, right? Like you got this real like poetic type of vibe going on, and it's just like, you know, kind of reiterating that, like, you know, even kings die, but when they die, like they bear fruit. What does that mean to you? Like, where did that kind of come from? Just
it was basically saying that, yes, even though kings die, I wanted to start off the album by, okay, obviously it seems a bit dark, but I want to give you hope in the midst of it. Like, yes, kings die, everybody dies, but in order for anything to live, there must be a death. So I wanted to kind of give hope in the sense of the title, and not just making it so dark and gloomy, saying, but don't fret.
Right.
Fret not. Yeah. Life comes after death. So that was the meaning behind the intro. But the entire album is basically saying every dog has his day. And if you can look at a king, look at this almost deity type figure, this grandiose type of entity, and you could say, as much as I'm admired by the people, as much as I'm praised by my subjects, there will come a day where I have to die. So if the king can die, where does that leave us? You know? Right. If Jay-Z can get it wrong, where does that leave you? Right. If the Queen of England can make a mistake, if she can fall, then where does that leave me? So that's what the project is saying, is that how dare I believe that I'm exempt from any persecution if the king can die? Even kings die.
Now, when you say die, is that just like, not just a physical death, but like are we talking like death of careers? Like Hov has been going, like we just said Hov.
Kings die, meaning what it's saying is nothing is off the table because the king can die. So anything that could ever happen to you can and will happen to you because the king, it can happen to the king. Right. So even kings die. So what's the highest understanding of life? Who's the highest position held of all time is the king. Yeah. So even he can die, even he can fall, even he can make a mistake, even he can be an alcoholic, even he can be an adulterer, even he can,
Right.
And that is just like basically a revelation I had in my life throughout these past few years, because it was a tough past few years for me. And I was able to say, all right, cool, I was honest, I did well by people, I helped everybody I knew, I worked very hard, and still, it was so many things that came against me. And after I've overcame those things, I was able to look back and say, wow, even when you do good, bad things can happen. Even the king can die.
Right.
So I just put it in a form musically that I felt like it was time, because I wasn't gonna even ever do another record.
Wow.
But I take this very serious. So when you're in a game that doesn't take it as serious as you do, it can be a bit frustrating. So, but I just felt like the songs started writing themselves. I started living and experiencing certain things that I just felt like I'll be remiss not to share with the world.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it's dope. I like the first record after the intro, the God Forgives joint. That shit is hard.
Yeah.
That shit hard. So it's
Thank
like, you just kind of in the perspective, I know you say something like, I hope my daughter don't hate me like her mama did.
Yeah.
And just kind of reflecting on yourself as a man. Is that you in the position that you at? Are you speaking from your place? Or
It's
is that
definitely
just,
me. It's definitely me. I think the worst mistake as a man you could ever do is cheat. And obviously it's not the cool thing to say. But if I could take it all back and never have cheated ever, I would never do it. And it's a bit selfish, the reasons why, but I think that the honesty behind it is just say, the things that I had to pay for after cheating, the things that I thought were forgiven that were never forgiven, I wish if I could go back and change anything, I would change that, because it's not worth the energy, it's not worth the hassle, it's not worth, you have to understand as a man, the tables are not even for you when it comes to responsibilities. So now put that on top of the fact that you're viewed as a cheater, and there's angst and anger behind how you're viewed by the entire side of a family.
Yeah.
Let alone the person that you're supposed to have loved. Now the pressure is on. Now nothing that happens to you feels wrong. No empathy for you anymore, because you're a cheater. You cheated.
Yeah.
So if the world falls on top of you, it's sometimes the ability to hold you and love you and to protect you in those times. Sometimes a woman is rendered powerless. She can no longer do that because you did those things. So I would never want my son to feel that. I would never want my son to feel like the whole world is against him and nobody's there to help him because he did this thing.
Right. What do you think it is that makes it so hard, just like, especially being in this industry, just the idea of, like you said, of cheating? Like, what do you think makes it so hard for men to like feel like they got to do that?
Anything that makes it hard, anything that's made available to you easily is going to be difficult to turn down. If I walked into a room and I loved Little Debbie cakes and everybody's a room full of Little Debbie cakes, now if there were locks on all of these Little Debbie cakes and I could not get them, it's easy for me to be 190 pounds.
Right. Right.
But if I got access to all these things and everybody around is okay with it, and everybody knows that I'm on a diet, everybody in the room knows you are the face of Weight Watchers, you should not be here.
Right.
But I won't say anything because you can afford to have it. That is what it's like being rich. You have a girlfriend. You shouldn't be doing that, but I'm not going to say nothing because you're rich. I should not be talking to you. No, but you rich.
Right.
You're appealing. You're intelligent. You're intellectual. You're attractive. You got a nice watch. You got a bunch of cars.
Yeah.
So everything that you want physically, I will make available to you without consequence. And that's what it's like to be the king.
Right.
But what you have to understand is that will be the demise of the king also. And physically, I'm going to tell you, physically, by nature as a man, you're attracted to multiple conquest, if you will.
Yeah.
You know?
Does that ever go away, you think?
That's never going to go away. That's never going to go away. But the strength, just like me wanting to have a Philly cheesesteak right now, is not going to go away.
Right.
But I just know I can't do that. So I just have to learn discipline on all levels.
Right.
That's something that I struggle with. I'm not trying to say that I'm a healed man. I'm a fixed man. What I'm saying is that is the issue. That is the dilemma. This is what happens based upon that dilemma, though. These are the consequences of those actions. And that's never going to go away. That's never the desire to be with every woman that you see who's beautiful is never going to go away. It's in our DNA. So for a woman, it's easy for a woman, and some women are the same way as men, and some women can sleep with 100 guys. But for the most part, for a woman, it's easy for her to say, oh my God, that guy's super attractive. And as soon as that guy comes over and says, hey, can I buy you dinner? She's like, no.
Right.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm married.
Right.
Of course not. Well, I'm not even married. I just don't even feel like it tonight.
Yeah, you're not even on that.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Right.
So for a man, it's like, imagine bro, you have to understand, I'm driving a Rolls Royce. I pull up, I got $100,000 watch on, you know, I'm successful, people recognize me. I stop at a light, I look over to the left, and I see a pretty girl, and I literally could just do this.
and they with it.
And she gonna roll the window down and say, 447. Imagine that power.
Yeah.
Who would not abuse that power unless they are programmed, if you will? That's why I say I hope my son, you know, I hope my son wants to be like his daddy one day. You know, and he says your daddy's still a good man.
Right.
I want to teach my son, bro, that's not cool. I want to almost program him into thinking that that's not acceptable, because I don't even want him to be. I want him to understand that is natural for him physically
to feel those
things. But I want him to almost be programmed into thinking that that's off limits for me. You know, that's like I was programmed that stealing is wrong.
Right.
So if you stole from me, bro, I still wouldn't steal from you, because I believe that stealing is wrong.
Yeah.
So I want him to be just as programmed to think that monogamy is the way to be, as it's just as I am programmed to believe that stealing is wrong.
How do you think that, I guess, just the cheating aspect like affected your kids? Because you talk, you know, openly about, you know, your daughter and your son.
It definitely affects your children because your relationship is strained with their mother.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be an effect on your children and how you interact. And because kids are smart, they can see the distance.
Right.
You know, they can see everything that's going on, and you know, so it affects them because obviously now, even if there's a separation, if there's a breakup, if there's a, you know, whatever it is, then obviously the kids are affected by that.
Right.
You know, but I think men are affected in such a way where financially you had all these financial responsibilities, and now, like I said, the empathy is gone. So you're juggling 50 million things, and nobody's there to say, damn, I know you got to deal with this. I'm not going to make this difficult for you. The energy is, you better have this money to me on this day, and I need this, and you better have, you know.
Right.
Because it's like, now I'm not talking about what I need. I'm talking about what I need to a person who I'm angry with.
Right.
So, yeah, you're affected. The kids are affected. The relationship is affected. The energy is affected. Every time you come around, you want to be free enough and honest enough to be yourself and to be comfortable in who you are, and it's difficult when you're angry. Right. It's difficult to deal with people when you're resentful. So, you know, what I've understood is I learned how to, my manager, Mams, is a guru when it comes to dealing with people. He's just an incredible, first of all, great judge of character, but he also just knows how to deal with angry people. And what I'm learning now is to say, I'm not going to react to your anger with anger. What I'm going to do is say, I know why you're doing this. You're upset. You want me to feel the way you feel.
Yeah, hurt people hurt people.
So what I want to do is just allow you your moment to be upset, and then come back to you when you're a little bit more calm and give you the options that work for, you know. So that's difficult for people to go through, and that's what kids have to. If a kid doesn't have a person mature enough or understanding of themselves enough to do that, then now they got to suffer the consequences of this broken relationship.
No, you're right. I mean, like, just even in listening to that record, I don't know if you heard, so Joe Budden on the Joe Budden podcast recently, he referenced the record. Like, obviously there's been this whole storm of like R. Kelly, what's happening with the R. Kelly thing since you know, the docuseries came out. And I guess he referenced, you know, your tweet about so I know you put out a tweet just referencing how you still enjoy the music of, you know, of R. Kelly, whether it's 12 Play and Chocolate Factory and that, and then you put out another statement kind of saying that the timing was bad of you saying that. So when Joe, I guess, put out, you know, on his latest podcast, he kind of said he challenged you a little bit just to, you know, the idea of like a man having a daughter and then kind of supporting that. Do you think like...
See, but you have to understand supporting. You have to understand we live in such an era where everybody takes offense to everything quickly. And now I have to pacify everybody's emotions. I have to pamper and baby everybody's emotions. So basically, when I got on Twitter, I wasn't watching the show. I still haven't seen the show. So I got on Twitter and I see somebody attacking people who I'm friends with because they said they liked his music. And what I said was, me not watching the show, not understanding what's going on. The show was actually airing at the time, the first episode. It wasn't like the show had gone off and I'd seen it, I heard about it.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of me seeing things, and that's what we do via Twitter, is we respond to things that
That's
we
happening
see.
in real time. Yeah.
So what I said was, there's nothing that could make me unlike Chocolate Factory, TP212 Play in the Art. Those are incredible. My ears like what they like.
Mm-hmm.
And people were, oh my God, I can't believe it. And they were upset. And what I was able to, because I'm able to admit when I'm wrong, the timing of that was inappropriate. Because imagine if I was accused of raping your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody says, yeah, but you know Rico Love wrote Confessions album, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, who cares?
Right
Now we're talking about this.
Yeah.
So I can acknowledge and accept the fact that that wasn't an appropriate time to share that. But what I can't accept is when people want you to say in your mind that this person isn't a genius. Now, I don't think I think it's not fair to share that anymore. I don't think that people are mature enough or ready for you to even acknowledge his greatness and his gift.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be willing to not even acknowledge his gift.
Mm.
I can accept what he's done for me as a creative mentally and as a creative, my abilities privately.
Yeah.
But I will not celebrate him publicly, because why do it? Why do it if it makes people uncomfortable? It doesn't prove anything. It would just, at this point, for me to celebrate him would be just to be defiant and just to go against people.
What's happening. Yeah.
Just because. And that's not what I'm not really, not for somebody, I don't have a relationship with this person on that level to be just doing that.
Yeah.
So what I will say again, though, I don't change how I feel about the actual music and the content. And people say, well, you're trying to separate. No, you're trying to separate. I'm not even trying to go far as separating the man from the.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
just talking
I'm
about
saying,
strictly.
Just
You're trying to tell people that they shouldn't have liked his music. And that's not fair. Because it would not be a 6-episode series about him had he not been affected, had not millions and millions of people been affected by his gift.
Yeah.
If he was just some guy who wasn't extremely talented, there would be no conversation about him at all.
But what if people who say that the music is inspired by the acts that's, like the sexual pedophilia
You have
acts
to
or whatever the case
understand
is?
because if somebody tells me that Tony has a song called It's Our Anniversary.
Yeah.
When that song came out, I didn't have a girlfriend. I was a kid. I love that song.
Right.
So who cares if it's inspired by his anniversary? Because I like the song based upon me never having anniversary with anybody, me being a 9-year-old kid hearing a song that I love.
Yeah.
So you cannot hold me accountable for his intentions when he wrote the record.
Mm.
If I make a cake and I use this cake as a tool to lure women to my home so that I can seduce them,
Right.
and you get a hold of this cake and you eat the cake and you enjoy the cake,
Yeah.
it's up to you why you enjoyed the cake. You can't say to somebody, how could you enjoy that cake? Its intentions were to, no. So, but what I think in fairness is that people are angry, and you have to allow them the time to be angry. You have to understand why they're angry, and you have to put yourself in a position to be mature enough to say, I'm not going to argue with you about your anger. I can't tell you how something makes you feel.
Yeah.
I can only explain my intent. Now, if my apology still is not good enough for you, then that means that you didn't want an apology. You wanted a punching bag. So if even after me accepting and acknowledging that it was in poor taste, my tweet, or I shouldn't have done that, then you have to ask yourself, what was my intentions of attacking Rico? What was my intentions of attacking anybody who spoke saying that they enjoy this music? Is it to enlighten them and educate them? If it's to enlighten and educate them, then you got to accept when they admit and accept that you were right. But if you still attack them after they acknowledge that you're right, then it has nothing to do with R. Kelly, has nothing to do with any of this. It's about you being angry at people who are in positions of power, of attention.
So do you think, I guess, people who kind of do things that the community deems immoral, should they, because we're in a cancel culture, right? It's like where people, they see something you did and they cancel it.
And let me tell you, my brother made a great point to me. He said, Rico, you don't support the NFL because of the Kaepernick situation and how the teams and how Trump and all these people did them. You don't support Papa John's. You don't support all these things. I said, yes, but I still acknowledge that they're great. I'm just not going to support them. So what I'm saying to them is we having two different conversations. But what I won't do is I won't acknowledge R. Kelly's greatness anymore. That's me taking a step publicly, or just because that's me taking a step and saying that's not going to put us in the right direction. Right. That's not going to get me to have a proper dialogue with somebody who's angry. So I think I'm going to be the bigger person and say, okay, how this person's music's making me feel is not the subject right now. People are angry with the actions. People are angry. And at this point, anybody, if you're the biggest R. Kelly fan in the world, you cannot deny all of these people coming out. Like at certain points, you have to say.
Yes.
You have to say. Because even when people were coming to my defense, they were saying things like, well, we don't even know if this is true. I'm like, yeah, we know it's true.
Yeah.
So let's just be clear.
Right.
This is true.
Yeah.
Every detail of every part of it may not be true. Whenever you do something wrong, you set yourself up for people to come and lie. But for the most part, we all have to be mature enough to understand until you come with the most incredible evidence in the world of this all being false and this being the biggest conspiracy in the history of music, then we can have, but if we want to be mature and honest about it, it is what it is, right? So we're not denying what it is, but we also have to be mature enough to say it's in poor taste at this point to glorify his gift. It's just in poor taste. And I will admit that at that time, it might have been a wise thing for me to do. In fairness, I didn't watch the show and I wasn't responding about the show. I was literally responding about somebody attacking another friend of mine because they just said they liked the music. And I was just saying, you can't tell a person what not to like.
Will you watch it?
Well, I don't think, and I'm just going to upset people, I don't think I want to watch it.
Why?
Because I saw the tape 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I supported his music still just like millions of other people. So I think I need to reevaluate my point of view from that point. I don't need to see it because you have to understand this is like when you find out your hero is a monster. Yeah. Some people just want to watch it. It's uncomfortable for me, and I'm not there yet. And I hope that people aren't angry with that because people find a way to be angry with you with that. Yeah. But let me trust my honesty. It's easy for me to look in the camera and say, yeah, I'm going to watch it and never watch it. Right. I'm just being honest about the way I feel, and I really am heartbroken at the fact that I championed this person. This person has created a template in which I write music for today. He created the style in which all of us create, whether we know it or not. He created a template for us. Yeah. And it's just uncomfortable for me to see a hero in that way. But I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to glorify or deny what he is. He has a problem. He has an issue. He needs help. Yeah. You know, some may say, okay, well, he needs to be locked up. Yes, he did these things. He needs to be locked up. But I also still have invested a large part of my life to enjoying his music, and he is somebody who at one point in my life I looked at to musically as a hero. So it's uncomfortable for me to see somebody I saw as a champion in that light. Right. That does not mean I'm disregarding or not caring about the victims, because people always jump to those extremes. Somebody told me that I don't love my daughter
because
I liked R. Kelly's previous music. Somebody said to me, you don't love your daughter then. And right. You have to understand, in order for anybody to take your argument serious, you have to say things that's going to allow for them to respect your point of view and your argument. When you say ridiculous things, it kind of eliminates your entire argument.
But do you think because the thing is, and I guess sort of what Joe was saying on the podcast is like when you have people like you said, like, you know, when you finally realize your hero was a monster, when you have people that kind of create these amazing, great bodies of work, and I guess we still acknowledge the body of work is great, that sort of enables the mentality that if you're great, we can overlook certain things.
It does when you're dealing with people who don't know how to think maturely. And what you have to understand is in this society, and in fairness, I think you would agree, we're in a time with people who kind of aren't mature thinkers. Yeah. Right? I'm mature enough to understand the difference, right? But most people aren't. So what I'm not gonna do is try to make those people see my way. I'm just gonna do whatever makes them comfortable because I don't have the energy. This is not my fight. Right. I'm not about to spend my life defending the fact that I like somebody's music who's a monster. I would rather you just say, you're right, it's not appropriate for me to celebrate this person. Right. And I'm fine with not celebrating them. It's just not worth my time. Right. It's not worth me going and risking how, you know, my career or my well-being because of somebody else who...
Y'all ever worked together?
No, we never worked together. Okay. I wrote a song called It's All Because of You.
The Brandy Monica?
Yeah, I wrote it for him originally. And he took the record from me. I mean, he wanted it. I mean, not to get it in a bad way. So I gave it to him, and he ended up playing it for Monica, and she wanted it to be a record with them too.
Did you write it with the mind frame?
I wrote it with R. Kelly in mind.
Because it sounds like I can hear.
I wrote it with R. Kelly in mind, and it ended up RCA heard it and said, well, we would love for this to be the Brandy and Monica duet, which I didn't agree with, but we ended up still doing it. And they paid me a shit ton of money. So,
I feel that.
So I changed my mind.
All right.
No, but but we never worked together. We never even, we met one time in person. I had a show in Chicago, and he performed. He was the headliner, and he, I sat at his table while he was performing. But other than that, I never spent time with him.
All right. So we got to get into it since we talking about that, like another big kind of topic in conversation. My man Jacquees said he's the king of R&B. Had the internet going crazy with that discussion. Who do you feel like, if we talking like the last decade, like last 10 years, who is the king of R&B? Not all time, but just the last like decade, who we say got the crown for that?
You have to understand, last 10 years.
What we in, 19
Chris Brown.
this time? Chris Brown?
Yeah, Chris Brown.
Why?
He's been the most consistent artist in the genre in the past 10 years. Who else?
I'm trying to think. Let me
on
see.
top.
Between
On top.
10, yeah, it's hard to say 10 because I feel like Chris ain't really in the last 5. I feel like the earlier mid 2000s.
Do the numbers.
We talking for 09 to 19.
Yes.
Chris, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. I'm trying to think who else.
Do the numbers. Do show me who's been as consistent and as relevant in the culture, and has still maintained his youth and still maintained his grasp on current, the past, present, and future. Name who would you say? If we're gonna if we want to name a king, honestly, I believe if you say in the last 10 years, that's a different conversation. But I don't believe it has a last 10 years thing.
You think it's just a
I believe the king is gonna be the king.
So who's the king then? If we talk,
I don't want to talk about that. We're
not even going to acknowledge that. There's no king. All right.
I will not acknowledge that. Because I believe the king is the king.
Even kings die.
Until the king dies, he's the king. So if we want to say what a king is, it got to be the king. It's no such thing as I'm the king of this era. No, the king, like it.
But we got king, like
the monarch doesn't work like that.
Nah, but like even like in the NBA,
Queen of England is the Queen of England.
Yeah, but it's different. Queen, like all right, so like if we talking about the NBA, it was like
LeBron James is the king
right now.
LeBron James
all time.
No, I'm talking about he's the king right now because he's alive right now. Everybody else is gone.
Right.
If Jordan was still here, we can't. If my mom had a dick, she'd be my dad. Right. There's no ifs. They don't exist. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the king is the king. LeBron James is the king.
Yeah.
Right? So if other people existed at the time, if Joffrey is alive at the same time as his father, he's no longer the king. He's the prince. Right?
He's the prince.
So at the end of the day, if you want to talk about R&B music, you can't say of this time. Either you're the king or you're the king. Now, when that person dies,
then it's open up.
Then it opens up for discussion.
All right.
Technically, that person is dead. Is dead to us.
It's crazy. Right? Yeah, he's out of here. Nah, for sure. All right. So I feel that. Now I want to try to shift gears a little bit, just in the discussion. You said already that you made a shit ton of money off that Brandy Monica record. And
no. They paid me a shit ton of money.
They paid you a shit ton of money.
I made nothing off of it. It was not a successful song.
Okay, they paid you. All right.
Yeah.
But when we talking like, because there's a lot of people that hit me up for different things. Like we talking just writers and kind of securing publishing. Like I know. Would you say that it's more profitable as a writer than it is as an artist?
Used to be. I think it's profitable in however your management is set up. And I believe it's whatever you're passionate about, you're going to find a way to be extremely profitable in it. Now, obviously, if I'm a writer and I'm writing for 25 different artists, it's easier for me to make money while you're on the road performing your one album and I'm writing 20 different albums. Then, of course, it can be profitable. But we live in an era where the master is king. And the publishing became further down the totem pole as regards to residual rights. So the publisher is not getting his fair share based upon the way the streams are circulating. The master is.
Right.
So the guy who has a piece of the master is making more than the guy who actually wrote the record. That's always been from the beginning of time. If you own a master, you're going to make more because the publishing is paid from the master.
Right.
So as far as is it more profitable to be behind the scenes? I know some artists who are 10 times more money than I've ever made. So it's not even just about, ideally, if you're the biggest artist that you could possibly be, then you're gonna make very profitable. What I believe in is passion. I don't even like talking about money. I don't care about how much money somebody make. I care about what have their effect been on culture? What has their effect been to people who look up to them? How have they affected the future generations to come? When people come up to me and talk to me, I don't want to hear about, oh, they see my cars or they see my crib. I love the fact that people come to me and they're like, I love what you said. I was moved by something that you did. I was moved by this song that you wrote. Right. And to me, that's worth more than money. That's worth more than just a check. And I think we care so much about who makes more money. What have you done for the culture? I don't love Quincy Jones because of all the money he has. And he has more money than everybody. Yeah. But what he's been able to do creatively, consistently, I got to respect that. And I think that means more than the check.
Right. But when we're talking about just like legacy and impact in the culture, obviously R&B is not what it used to be still. I feel like it's kind of emerging again, I feel like, but I don't think it is where it once was. And just even evidence, like when I look, like me personally, like you said, you wrote on the Confessions album, you wrote Throwback, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the staple albums in R&B history, right? Mm-hmm. And then now it's like Usher dropped a project with the Zaytoven, and I see people shitting on Usher, and it's just crazy to me because it's like, that's Usher. Mm-hmm. Like, it is like the fact that he could kind of just drop a project and it not really resonate in the same way. Like, how do you feel about that? Just like the idea of like, just like a legend now in R&B, like it doesn't sort of resonate the same way.
It's nothing Usher can do to make me not recognize him as a juggernaut and a king of our genre. So even if I'm not a fan of something he does, but I come up from a different era, a different time. I'm 36 years old. Right. So I can't expect a 20-year-old to respect the things that I respect or to view things that I view because we grew up in different times. See, from my era on back, it was a level of respect for people who came before us. Yeah. This new era is about right now. You understand? Even in gang culture, it used to be a big homie rule. It used to be like, big homie said is shut down. Yeah. Now, even in gang culture, they like, bro, we killing OG. Yeah, facts. We'll kill big homie.
That's a fact.
So it's not the level of reverence that I grew up with. So yeah, I do understand and I get upset. If somebody says, I didn't like that Usher project, that's fine. But you still have to recognize he's Usher. Yeah. He's one of the greatest to ever do this, ever. And Flatfoot will out-sing your favorite, your top guy. Yeah. He will out-sing them, out-dance them, out-perform them, 2.5 hour set performing the hits, and then still leave and go to the club that night and party till 6 in the morning, wake up the next day and do the next show. He's seasoned. Yeah. He's crafted. He was built in a factory. This is not right. Normal. Yeah. So the respect I have for him, you cannot change, nothing he can do that could change that respect I have for him and his ability and his prowess as a performer.
Do you think he can do something today sonically that will resonate with the kids?
Yeah. But with the kids, but why not just make a timeless record? You have to understand, we in an era where Tony, you think Tony Bennett cares about the kids? No. When has he missed a beat? Right. When has he not been nominated for a Grammy? You think that Sinatra, when he was alive, cared about the kids?
Nah, but the era, like you said.
What I'm telling you is that the era is the era, but the people still want the music. Tamia just sold out arenas. Escape just sold out arenas. Yeah. Escape, they have not put out a record after the tour, but they had not put out a record in 15 years. Yeah. They just sold out arenas. What are we missing? Why no kids were there?
But they selling out arenas off of nostalgia, off the old records. But I'm saying like a new
what
record.
I'm trying to tell you is that if you make the record that people love, Toni Braxton just put out an amazing album, Sex and Cigarettes, nominated for Grammys and all type of. Yeah. Her people love her record. Toni Braxton right now could do 6,000 venues, 6,000 seaters. Yeah. Why are we so pressed to impress a group of people who aren't interested in us? Make records for people who love you. Because what's going to happen is this. This is what happens. And Usher and I had this conversation.
Y'all talked about this?
Not about this record. But when he did a record called I Don't Mind, they played it for me, and I said, that's a hit record, but you don't need to do it. Because this is what happens. Your audience doesn't like the song. Right. The new audience like the song, but don't acknowledge you. So you're in a lose-lose.
Right.
The song is big, but this audience,
don't want to hear that.
all they hear is Juicy J.
Yeah.
When you did No Limit, they said that song with Young Thug. So yeah, the song was big, but what did it do for your sales? What did it do for your visibility? Nothing. What it did was, the writers and the publishers on the record made some money. You was able to go out and perform it and add it to your catalog. But what it did for your actual sales and for your actual brand is nothing, because your fans who love you, who are invested in Usher,
Right.
they're not going to go to that record as their go-to song. They're not going to. But it's a hit.
Yeah.
So that's no knock to the people who wrote that song. I think my good friends, Rock City, wrote both of those records that I'm referring to. So at the end of the day, what I believe is that make the records that are true to you, and understand that I'm okay if a 13-year-old kid don't rock with me right now.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I feel that.
I'm okay if I'm not touring at all the colleges.
Right. So, but what do you think? Because you've been vocal and you putting out. You got the Rico Love Presents, right? Like you got Texas, TXS, where you kind of been putting out artists, new artists, right? Like you putting out new artists, kind of doing artist development, which we don't really see anymore, and building these people up. What do you think? In your opinion, it takes to kind of break somebody in this mode, in this era that we're in right now?
Man, this era just takes consistency and stand in their face. And when you get them to love you, you got to consistently do what they love from you. It's no formula. I think that it's basically, first of all, it's lightning in a bottle. You have to understand that. Her, Daniel Caesar, LMA, Kaylani, Brent Fayez, these are not things that just happen.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, these are not just things that just tons of people have put out records, but all of those people I just named can do a 2-hour set right now.
Right.
Right? So, incredible music. Brian Sintiller, Black, like all those guys are incredible talent, right?
Yeah.
But that is lightning in the bottle, because that's just maybe almost 2 handful of people I just named.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that it takes time and it takes consistency for their audience to love them. By the time radio discovers you, you should already have 15 songs that they didn't even know about, that when you perform it, you get there. When I first hung out with Wiz Khalifa, and before he had the biggest hits of ever, I knew all of his records. So when Black and Yellow took off, the pop audience is there singing Black and Yellow.
Right.
But then the rest of the crowd
was already,
come on. They like, so now I'm looking around as a newcomer or as another person in the audience saying, what's this record?
Right.
So the key for new artists and breaking new artists is consistent work and understanding there will be a year of me not being famous to the mainstream. There will be 2 years of me just now starting to get notoriety from people. There will, I go places right now. I just put out an album December 3rd. I go places right now. People say to me, I love you, Rico, when you dropping some new shit. That cannot frustrate me.
No,
Why?
they don't. Yeah.
No, that's a part of the game.
Yeah.
I just put out a record now. Check it out. Because everybody's not checking your Instagram feed every 5 minutes.
Right.
You have to acknowledge that. Who would be so arrogant to be upset with somebody for not knowing something? My job is to make sure that you know. My job is to make sure that I stay as active as possible, to make sure that everything I do, you fall in love with, and you fall in line as one of those groups of people who are waiting, who have me up when my notifications come up. You already know that when I say I'm going to be here at this time, you're going to be there waiting on me. And that takes time. So if anybody wants to know how do we break an artist in this era, consistency and patience. And consistently putting out great content and being patient with the process. Understanding that I'm not going to sell out. I watched an artist, never had no project, nothing.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll be headlining Coachella next year. No, you won't.
Right.
No, you won't. That's not even, I don't even want you to say that you're dreaming
manifesting
big. No, that's not even possible. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
That's not how these things happen.
It's a fact.
I don't care if you say, I just heard of them this year. And you just heard of them. But in order for 200,000 people, I remember watching Empire of the Sun perform at Coachella, standing on the stage watching them perform and thinking to myself, who are they? And I look out to sea of maybe 70,000 people on the main stage singing every word.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Just because you found out today does not mean that it came out, it was discovered today.
Right.
So understand that there's time that goes into this. None of this shit is overnight. None of this is about an algorithm. Yeah, those things help. But these people have been putting in time. An algorithm can get you one hit. You could have an algorithm. I know an artist who had a record when Drake dropped the If You're Reading This It's Too Late project.
Yeah.
The person had a song that came right after it. And it's just a thing that happened by chance.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the song,
so after that Drake go on, then your song
now
come
your
on,
song
so
is at
streaming numbers
12
crazy.
million
Yeah.
streams
Right.
just because by chance it was an
shit was right
algorithm,
there,
it was a
yeah.
glitch, and your song came right after Drake's.
Right.
And now that person is nowhere to be found because they didn't know how to back it up. So yeah, algorithms play a small part sometimes. But if you're not consistently putting out incredible content, I look at Black, when I look at Bryson, when I look at, her, when I look at LMA, when I look at, Kehlani, when I look at Brent Fayez, when I look at Daniel Caesar, when I look at all these acts, when I look at Tory Lanez, I'm looking at people and I'm saying to myself, first of all, it's incredible music, but it took time for all of them. It took getting deals, getting dropped. It took being shelved. It took putting out projects that nobody listened to. It took performing in front of 4 people and turning that 4 into 40, and that 40 into 400, and that 400 into 4,000, and then 40,000, and then 200,000 people's festivals overseas. Like, it takes time, and that time is what builds the character. And we're missing that part.
Yeah.
That part, I don't want to do Coachella next year. I want to do the small stage. Because there's some people I need to pick up along the way.
Right.
And I'm not going to be able to totally get you to understand who I am if you're basing your love off me off one song. Because after that song is done, you could take or leave me.
Yeah.
Beyonce don't have to have a hit at radio. When Lemonade came out, we invested in her. We are invested in Beyonce.
Yeah.
So I don't care if she ever goes to radio again, she will sell out a tour. Usher's last tour he did, 80% capacity throughout the entire tour. 80% means he's filling up 80% of these venues with no hit record.
Right.
What that means is that we're invested in him and we can't wait to see him. Artists need to strive for that consistency and that love over time. So where now I'm just not interested in the song.
Yeah.
I want to see you. I love you.
Right. Right. Now, that's interesting. But all right, so we talk about Beyonce. You got B. I know you got to go. We're gonna get ready to wrap up. You got Beyonce. You wrote the Sweet Dreams record. Huge record. What is that like? Kind of just working with B, because I feel like everybody got their process, right? Like you got the process that makes you feel comfortable and how you in the studio and you get your setup going. And I know you said like, Beyonce was running late and you wrote the record like right there and played it for her. What was just, I guess, the vibe and the energy that you picked up from her and her process?
She's gracious. She's kind. She pays attention to everybody in the room. She wants to make sure everybody's comfortable. When she was late and it wasn't even in her control, her plane was circling around and she apologized 6 or 7 times for being late. That's character. I know artists who have no hits, walk in the room, don't speak to half the people in the room, sit down, be 2-3 hours late, don't say I'm apologizing for being late. No respect for anybody.
Yeah.
Beyonce deserves every bit of success that she has because she's a good person. She's a kind person. She's a gracious queen. And she deserves it. And her presence is overwhelming. When she walks in, the room feels different. She's incredible. She's amazing. But I will say this about writing a record for Beyonce. It means less for your career.
What you mean?
She's Beyonce.
That's why it will mean
she
more, though,
swallows you in the sense that it's not about you writing that record. It was like, of course it's a hit.
Right.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Now, writing a hit record for Kelly Rowland does more for me. Writing a hit record for Usher after they thought he was over does more for me.
Right.
When I do something for somebody like Nelly and give Nelly a hit, one of the biggest records of his career, that does more for me. When I write a hit for Diddy, that does more for me.
Yeah.
You have to understand. So my passion, that's why Rico Love Presents is so important, is because if I can break an artist, it does more for my brand and my ability to make something out of nothing. Beyonce is going to be Beyonce.
Right.
So if you're not on the next Beyonce album, nobody misses you.
Right.
That's no shade to be. That just shows how big she
it
is.
Yeah.
To where there's no room for you to share that light with her. She's Beyonce. And everybody should aspire to be that big.
Did you know that was a hit when you gave it to her there? Like, I mean, obviously, excluding the Beyonce
There's another
factor,
song
right?
that I wrote that day about houses or something. I was trying to use metaphor for a house and love, and I thought that was the record. And I played it for her, and she was like, oh, that's nice. Then I played her Sweet Dreams, and she said, how much time I got left, Ange? She said, you only got 15 minutes. She took her earrings off, took her high heels off, and cut the song in 15 minutes. So sometimes the songs that you think are the best songs ain't it. It be the record that's just, and she has the ability to hear the hit and understand what the hit is. So.
Right. All right, I feel like, man. Lastly, man, we about to wrap up. Lastly, just, you know, you like you said, you dropped this project. You know, you got a lot of stuff that you're building. You're doing, you know, conferences and a lot of things that you got building. What do you see is just the next level of trajectory for Rico Love?
The Rico Love Presents and We Love Music Conference are very important to me. First of all, July 12th and 13th, 2019, the We Love Music Conference is being held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go to www.welovemusicconference.com. If you feel inspired by anything I've said today, if you feel like I might know a little bit of what I'm talking about as regards to music, I think you should register and you should invest in coming to this conference. It's a 2-day conference and it's $175 for 2 days. And a lot of, even my accountants always tell me, bro, you should be charging way more. Yeah. But what I tell people is I want the people who can't afford all that other stuff to be there. Those are the people I want to be able to touch, because if I can build an army of people who are just truly passionate about doing music, about developing music and becoming great, then that means more to me than having a bunch of people who are cool and trendy at an event acting too cool to even speak to anybody. Right. So that is the next thing. Rico Love Presents, developing and breaking new acts, discovering the next talent and giving them a platform and creating a brand so where people can come to find the new and next talent. That's important to me. So the conference, my brand, the Division I brand is important, but just developing and building people, that's just what I'm passionate about right now. That's the future for me.
All right, I feel that, man. Yo, Rico, I appreciate you pulling up, my man. Thank you for having me. Absolutely. Hey, this is another great episode of Cigar Talk. My man dropped some gems. Hey, we out of here.
Plotting money moves over Cigar Talk. With some ladies that's chill over Cigar Talk. Cognac sipping.